order. City Clerk, you want to take the roll?
City Council Member Doris. Molly.
Present.
Mann.
Present.
Vice Mayor Chris.
Present.
Mayor Paris.
Here.
Move to excuse Council Member Gerald Doris.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
We need to do a roll call.
Oh, that's right. Well, then let's not excuse him. No. All right, call the roll.
City Council Member Molly.
Yes.
Mann.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris.
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes. Only reason I'm voting yes is because I hear he's getting a flu shot, so.
It passes unanimously.
Why, thank you. All right, I'm going to turn the meeting now to. You got to have them call the roll.
All right, roll call. Clerk, please.
Housing Authority members Harvey.
Present.
Molly.
Present.
Mann.
Present.
Vice Chair Chris.
Present.
Chair Zeto.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Who is doing the invocation? Now, I know I made a few of the pastors mad about my comments for requiring flu shots. And I understand there's a little bit of a controversy, but really, there really should be somebody here to say the prayer. I mean, they can't be that mad at me, could they? No? Well, who wants to say the prayer? I would do it, but I'm not allowed to. Well, I'm going to sit here till somebody decides to open this meeting with a prayer. Well, I'm just going to have to go to jail. If you'd bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for all of your gifts, and thank you for guiding us through this COVID-19 epidemic with as few deaths as we have had to experience. And we pray that you continue to offer your guidance and your support and your help in keeping our families safe and well. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
all of my detractors out there, be sure to get a copy of this video and you can send it to the FBI. Now, moving on. We're going to pass on the pledge because we're on a Zoom. City Manager, are there any items to be removed?
No, sir.
Thank you. Could you turn your video on? Thank you. I'm going to turn the meeting over to the Housing Authority.
All right, City Clerk, do we have any speaker cards on item HACC 1?
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on HACC 1, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you would like to speak on HACC 1. No speakers for HACC 1.
All right, do we want to waive reading of the staffing report?
Motion to approve HACC 1 and adopt resolution HA 2-20.
Ken Mann, I'll second that.
All right, let's vote. Roll call.
Housing Authority member Harvey.
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Mann.
Yes.
Vice Chair Chris.
Yes.
Chair Zeto.
Yes, passes unanimously. I'll turn the meeting back over to Mayor Paris.
Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I second that.
Can you call the roll, please?
City Councilmember Molly,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris,
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of?
Passes unanimously.
Oh, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for the? Well, we already did that, right?
We're on consent calendar.
Oh, okay. I thought there were maybe 2 minutes that I had to deal with.
I think we only have one. Yeah, just M1.
Okay, on the consent calendar. Anything to be removed?
I'd like to pull CC5.
Is there a motion? Well, I guess I need to, any speaker cards or speakers, Madam Clerk?
This time, anyone wishing to comment on any item on the consent calendar, please press star 9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press star 9 at this time if you would like to comment on any item on the consent calendar except CC5. Caller with the last 4, 7232, please state your name.
Fran Sarasaris.
Okay, you may begin.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, staff, and council people. I have a question on CC4. I wanted to know what was paid with that 100,000 and $177 to this company, Inco, Fanco Geltman, Inc. What was that money used for? And another quick question on the same CC4 is, what is the general plan?
Well, you got 2 questions. As to the first question, we don't know what it was used for, but we know why we paid it. Don't we, Jason?
Okay.
Yes, if somebody wants to, for sure. Let me start with the general plan one, and then I'll let staff jump in on the specifics of the expenditure. The general plan is a planning document that every city is required to have that sets out zoning restrictions and guidelines as it relates to development. Periodically, we need to update those. There's a couple items on the agenda today specifically regarding housing element, which tends to be updated more regularly. And that one's on there. It looks like Larissa popped up, and she'll tell us specifically about the $100,000.
What did you do with that money, Larissa?
It was well spent, I promise. Jason is accurate. He's quite the planner, might I add. The monies were utilized to begin kicking off the housing element update, which is one of the chapters of the general plan. It's mandated that we update our housing element every 7 years, and the money was utilized to begin that process. Okay.
On the general plan, the housing general plan, I noticed also that if we had a grant and it was for 5 years and we went beyond the 5 years and now you get an extension, why didn't we do something within the 5 years on the housing situation?
I think there might be a little bit of confusion there. The grant is mentioned in CC4. That specific item will be covered as new business 1 this evening. The grant itself it was just awarded to the city. We have not accepted the funds, but the grant will be utilized to cover the additional expenditures for the housing element update.
And then, Fran, I think you've got the 2 items confused. One of the items is the 5-year extension for the housing plan. We have a limitation on spending housing funds within a certain period of time. We do have authority with the extension of that. As the council is aware, we have a number of different housing projects that the city's engaged in currently that start with design, engineering, and inspection, and those projects take time. We also have a significant amount of properties that the housing authority owns, and is required to dispose of those properties, and we have to do those within a certain period of time, so that extension's in there as well. So they're 2 different things.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fran. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as presently comprised?
I'll make a motion. We approve the consent calendar pulling CC5.
Second that?
City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
City Councilmember Molly,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris,
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes. It passes unanimously. Moving on to CC5, is somebody doing a presentation on that? What are we doing?
I just have some concerns with it on the project itself. And before we send any more money over there, I'd like to get clarified, or maybe we need to do something. I received a phone call yesterday in regards to Kensington that a busload, and that was the term that the individual used, a busload of people from Los Angeles came up in a Metro bus along with 2 vans. Inside that Metro bus were people that resided outside the Spa 1 area, which was, or outside of Lancaster. So I don't think that we should be spending money or losses money, but I need to find out, number one, why a Metro bus was used to bring people up to the Antelope Valley, the homeless. Are we accepting LA City, LA County homeless outside of Spa 1, and just how this is working?
Heather, are you able to answer that?
I'm doing a little bit of research into it. The interim housing at Kensington, which is the portion that should have been starting to be filled yesterday, my understanding is that the request for people to be put in those beds goes to LASA. So I'm going to need to reach out to them and see kind of what the guidelines are there. It should be just for Service Planning Area 1 residents, but I'm not sure what it says specifically in their grant, if they're able to take people from out of the area. But I do plan on calling LASA because we obviously need the resource for people experiencing homelessness in this area, specifically Spa 1. The total homeless count number that we had this year was 4,755 people in Service Planning Area 1, which is basically the Antelope Valley. And that was a 44% increase from the previous year. So we definitely need to make sure that those resources stay towards the people in this area that are experiencing homelessness.
Heather, while you're talking to them, you can ask them several questions for me on just what is the parameters, because it's my understanding that they're saying that, first of all, there's a difference between the number of people that were brought up and because of the people that saw it. Some people, one person said they saw 4, one person said they saw over 20. So just the number of people, why a Metro bus was used to come up into our area. If they're from Spa 1 area, the Antelope Valley Transit Authority provides service through this area. There would be no need to do a Metro bus unless it was bused from downtown LA. So that tells me where the individuals came from and why are they using a bus to 4 people. I can understand 20 people, but if they're one person is too many for us to tolerate. We have enough people here to fill those beds, and it's my understanding that the powers that be are saying those people that they sent up from Los Angeles originated from the Palmdale, Lancaster area.
To speak to the number a little bit, I know the interim housing was supposed to have 156 beds due to COVID. Right now, they're only able to fill 157 for decompression reasons. As of this afternoon, there were only 12 slots filled. So I don't think it could have been 20 people coming off of the bus. I do know that through Project Room Key, there were several people, and I unfortunately don't have the count now, that were relocated to get off of the streets because they were at high risk for COVID. So that may be why they were coming from out of the area, if they're Antelope Valley residents, and then they were temporarily placed in a hotel outside of the area for COVID reasons.
So I'd like to find out the reasons why.
Yeah, I would also like to make a request to see what their charter is or how that was originally set up. The only reason why I voted to give them the funds that they've already received up to this point was I thought that this was going to be a partial solution to deal with our homeless. And, you know, the first thing that comes to my mind, if they are taking people from outside of the area, I got a wash that's just on the other side of my wife's business, or we could go down to Avenue I, or we could go back up to Avenue K, and there's a substantial amount of homeless that is now out on the street. And the last thing I'm going to do is give anybody any money that would circumvent us being able to take care of anybody here in the Antelope Valley, specifically Lancaster.
Well, and I know the plan for the people concern, which is the on-site supportive services for Kensington, they do attend, it's called a CES meeting, which is for the coordinated entry system. And that's where all of the providers get together and discuss what options are available within it's within the service planning area because we're broken up by spas, but that includes Lancaster, obviously. And they are supposed to be attending those meetings and talking about people in the area that are currently on the streets in our area as far as who we would recommend to put referrals in for. So that's being done. I know I also spoke with the people concerned earlier today, and we will be reaching out to all of the local outreach teams for all of the agencies to make sure that it is those referrals are being put in for people that are actually out on our streets and in our area.
And I would add, Ken, that we have been in contact with people concerned, and their main priority or their only priority is Spa 1. They've made us that commitment from the entry perspective.
Okay, I'm a little concerned about that. My understanding was we invested this money for Lancaster homeless, not Spa 1. Anything south of them is not a priority for Kensington. Now, if there are beds at Kensington, and there are people in need who need them, I think we should make them available. But nobody is able to make that determination this early into filling them. Now, as to people on the street, we got to remember that there's a significant number of people on the street who don't trust going into a shelter situation, no matter how opulent it might be. And I would think that as shelters go, Kensington is probably the state of the art in the entire universe at this time. I mean, it's that good, but I can also understand why people may not trust going there, especially during COVID. But Heather, I want to make certain that everybody understands that this is for Lancaster first. South of M is not our priority. Our priority is the homeless in Lancaster. Now, I don't think we should let beds go empty. And so if there are beds available and there's not people in Lancaster who want them, then I don't mind going south into Palmdale with it. But until that criteria is reached, that has to be the policy. If anybody disagrees with that policy, either the operator or the county, then we need to have a meeting and deal with it and come to some resolution. But that's how it was. That was our understanding. And, at the same time, I'm incredibly appreciative of the county for doing this. I mean, this was just what Catherine Barger did out there is truly world changing. It is how we should deal with housing homeless. It is just that good of a thing. The resources and talent and hard work that people put into it is just unbelievable. But that doesn't change the fact that we have a significant investment and we have to take care of our people first. All right?
Yes, absolutely.
And Mayor, I want to, if I may say, I am 100% agreement with what you just said. However, when we speak specifically about that project, I just can't see the city of Lancaster carrying the world on its back. If everybody was as aggressive as we were and have done the same, i.e., specifically the city of Los Angeles, anything to the south, you know, we would probably not be, the world would look different in Southern California. But what I really have a rough time, we've already have argued over monies, we're not getting our fair share. I just can't see us taking money out of the city of Lancaster and putting it into a facility if we're not providing oversight. And it looks like to me, maybe we may have to do that on a regular basis to make sure that we're not getting back into that position where there's this disproportionate share of dollars that are not being spent correctly in the city of Lancaster. I just got a problem with that.
Well, yeah, and I totally appreciate that, Ken, and I think we're on the same page in many respects. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that we are a Christian city. And if there are beds available and people are in need, we will provide them. We will take care of them. But we're not there yet. We have not made this available to every homeless person from Lancaster yet.
That's what I would agree with.
And until we do, I don't think it's appropriate for them to be filling it with people from out of town. But, you know, as Heather just said, if there's only a few people in it, then it wasn't a busload.
No, I got it. I mean, historically, when I raised millions of dollars for United Way, we constantly fought to make sure those dollars we raised them here, they got spent here, and there was plenty of oversight given. This is a very good example of the same thing. And I just want to make sure that there's clarity there, and I don't know what it will take, you know, whether we have to get a regular reading or a regular update of the activities there. I don't know, but I'm just really now reluctant to hand them anything.
Well, we got a deputy mayor that's going to monitor that, aren't you, Heather?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Jason, wait a minute.
Video, you're more than welcome.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I said Tiffany Tanner, if she wants to join the video, she's more than welcome to do so. I just noticed that she's blacked out. There she is.
Jason,
Tiffany?
A little bit.
You have been sick now for 2 months. For those of you who don't know, Tiffany got COVID-19. Just been struggling for day after day. Still working incredibly hard. So she's one of my heroes in all of this. Okay, is there a motion?
wait a minute.
Oh, okay.
Jason, my concern is correct me if I'm wrong, Valley Oasis got $8.5 million to monitor and put people into Kensington. Mental Health America got like 1.5, 1.7, somewhere in there, and we got 600,000. Are those numbers correct?
The best of my knowledge and the most recent knowledge, yes. Okay,
and we're being held responsible for this. And why aren't they doing their job correctly? And whether it's 4, whether it's 11, whether it's 20, one's too many for those people to be moved in there first.
Right. Part of the conversation, the challenge was bringing a Metro bus, which didn't seem to make sense on all accounts. The other side of it is we do have 114 or 127 beds, regardless of number, and there's 12 people in it. Somebody's not doing their job to put people in it. So I think it's twofold. One is to make sure that those people are the correct people, and two, that the people who are getting money to do this are actually doing their job in accomplishing it. So I think it's twofold. And that's where, from a staff perspective, we're happy to, look into it, investigate, identify, to find those reports, because it's not us getting the funds to do it. It's not us with the responsibility to do it. But, at the end of the day, the accountability rests with you guys, because you guys are the ones that get the calls. You're the ones that get the call that a Metro bus was dropping people off, so to a certain extent, you guys are accountable, and we're accountable to you to do that work. So we'd be happy to do that and identify what's going on.
Okay.
Just to kind of add to that, the interim housing, the 156 beds that we're talking about, the people concerned got the grant for that supportive housing piece. That's not the programs that Valley Oasis received the $8 million for, multiple programs, and not solely to put people into Kensington. Just to kind of clarify that piece.
No, but to clarify, it's their job to identify the homeless and be the coordinated entry system, which identifies who needs services and coordinate them to the services that are there. And that's the disconnect that we need to make sure it gets filled.
The current process is for everyone from all of the agencies, MHA, Valley Oasis, LASA, to submit a request to LASA directly to their interim housing department. And LASA is the one that's approving who goes into that. So that's why I'm reaching out to LASA to get some more clarification on this.
So I'm confused. Why does Mental Health America get anything to do with Kensington?
All of the coordinated entry system, everybody works together. So there's outreach teams from multiple agencies that have their boots on the ground. They're in encampments every day, doing what we call progressive engagement. So they show up the first time, maybe just a bottle of water, and getting people to trust the agent that's out in the street. And that outreach person builds enough trust to get them to trust going into something like a shelter. And the end goal is permanent housing.
Well, do you really think Mental Health America, who can't somehow figure out a way to get the trust of the council, is getting the trust of the homeless population? I mean, I know what their salaries are. Marvin, what are their salaries?
I think they're getting too much money for a nonprofit. I'll just say it that way, but they're making over $100,000, the executive directors. Some of them are making close to $200,000.
Heather, are you making $200,000?
Not even close.
My point exactly. Does anybody have a suggestion as how we could just bring this to a head and have a conversation with the powers that be and get some equitable distribution and people who keep their promises to us?
I just, as if I can jump in, I think there's an opportunity to get those service providers who are receiving those funds, specifically the CES lead, to come in and say, what are we doing? How does this thing work? How do we guarantee that we're getting our resources, we're getting our money's worth, and two, that we're getting the right people into the right services? And, learn from them what they do.
I'd be happy to set up some sort of a Zoom roundtable to kind of do something on that, if that would be helpful, with the coordinated entry system agencies.
I'd like a meeting with the head of LASA and you and Marvin and Jason. That's where I would like to start. I think it's time we bring this to a head before we fill that facility with people who are not going to be well served being there. The whole idea of that facility is to graduate people up into housing that is sustainable and that they stay in and that they have a life and that their well-being is improved. And what we know from everything government does, that if you have this constant turnover of people and bringing them from all different areas, that does not happen. All you do is throw money after a problem. And I don't want to get started off down the wrong foot. So would you get that set up for us?
Absolutely.
Perhaps after that, maybe we should have some kind of town hall where the rest of the community can engage if they want to. But at the same time, let's remember, we want to keep this positive enough because I really do think this is a model that the world should adopt. In one swoop, we took care of half our homeless people. If every city did this, we would improve the welfare of millions of people's lives and give them a chance to come out of this. So with that being said, you good, Marvin?
I'm good. I'd like to pull this CC5 until we get some resolution on it, some exactly what did take place. And I'm hearing it's, they didn't send them up for 4 people, 11 people, 20 people. I'd like to know some exact numbers before we start giving more money to it.
And Cassandra Harvey wants to know if they're getting flu shots before they take them off the bus.
I have my voucher. I'm getting my flu shot tomorrow.
Great. Okay.
So Allison, do I need a motion for that?
No, I'll just pull it off.
Mr. Mayor, you can pull it off the agenda and continue it to the next meeting, or we can do a formal motion, either one.
I'll pull it off the agenda. I want back on the agenda. And before the next meeting, I'd like to have that meeting take place. Okay.
Very good.
Okay, let's move on. New business. Do we have any speaker cards for the California Department of Housing and Community Development Senate Bill SB2? Or do we want to hear the staff report? City Clerk, find out if anybody wants to address it. If not, we'll just go forward.
Okay. At this time, anyone wishing to comment on NB1, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to speak on NB1.
Seeing no response, we'll waive the staff report. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve NB1.
There a second?
I'll second that. Ken Mann.
Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll.
City Council Member Molly,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris,
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes. Passes unanimously. Moving on to CR1. Mr. Christ, is this you?
This is me. Same thing. That's we're getting good reports. We're still very much down because of COVID. We're on our Saturday schedule, which is it cuts the fleet in half to 50% service to Los Angeles for the commuter buses, and the buses still aren't full yet. So we're attempting to get those full again. And we did participate in the Red Cross evacuation. We were called to support the evacuation from the Little Rock, Pear Blossom area, and to take people into, because all the hotels were full, we were taking them into Santa Clarita. So ABTA did participate in that. And maybe that Metro bus coming up from LA, they passed on the freeway. So, and that's all I have on.
Thank you, Mr. Any other council reports? Ms. Tanner, do you have a report?
Just a brief update. We are going to be hosting a health and wellness for prevention of illness booth at the farmers market starting in October. Currently working on getting some flu vaccine there as well. But at the very least, we will have loads of resource information for everybody in the city so that they know where they can go, whether it's for medical health or mental health or other resources that they may be needing at this point.
That's terrific. Thank you. So I thought there were going to be some church participation today.
I was hoping. I don't know if they're here or not.
And the reason we thought there would be is I guess it's not a secret to a lot of people that I irritated a lot of people when I did my edict about flu shots. And I watched the video after I was deluged with Facebook reporting, and I realized that, yeah, I'm surprised I said those things. I was a little, sometimes they say stupid stuff. And so I'd like some grace from those who were offended. I do also want to make it clear that Dr. Stocks, Tiffany Tanner, Dr. Trong, and the entire city staff and city council, we take every single person that dies, and we ask, we do something or we fail to do something that could have saved those. And ultimately, as the mayor, it's ultimately, I think, my responsibility to make certain we have done everything possible to save the lives of the people in the city. I'm going to call on you in a minute because I want to have you explain to people what's going on.
Thanks.
And sometimes, imagine what it's like. Every single night I call to get the death count. The death count. I never signed up for that. I never thought that's what I would be doing. And I want you to know it breaks my heart that people are dying needlessly. I'm incredibly proud of the team we have and the work they've done. We have so much to be proud of as a city. We've cut our death rate in half compared to the rest of the county, but that still means 50 families in our city have gone through the most horrible thing you could imagine, which is the death of a family member that was not necessary. And so when I say stuff that sounds out there and angry or understand just how frightened I am that we're missing something, that we haven't done something. And for those of you who I offended, I apologize. I will probably offend you some more in the future. We are attacking this with everything we have, and we will continue to do so. Dr. Stocks, did you have something?
Thanks, Mayor. I understand the passion behind what you said last month, and I agree with that passion. We, strongly encourage people to stay as healthy as they can, and a flu shot's one of the best things you can do for yourself right now to try and protect your health. And people die from the flu, and the vaccine can help prevent death. So unless you have some contraindication to getting the shot, it's in your best interest and your family's best interest for you to get a shot and to get everyone vaccinated. Some people, I'm sure, had heard about the AstraZeneca trial being halted because of a complication to a patient, and that's being investigated. But that development of the COVID vaccine has nothing to do with the safety of the flu vaccine. So let's not conflate that. The second is some people have decided, well, I'm wearing a mask anyways. Why do I need to get a flu shot? That's a real common one, even among people who work at the hospitals. And I could tell you strongly, first, I went out and my first opportunity, got a flu vaccine myself. Secondly, I could tell you personally and also professionally that wearing a mask doesn't mean you're not going to get the flu. You're best off wearing the mask when you need to and get a flu shot to protect yourself. It's horrible to see young people die or old people die from the flu. When they could have prevented it.
Thank you, Larry. I did learn something, though, from all this hoopla. And that was, I kind of really thought that people who said they got sick from the flu shot were maybe a little wacky. But Tiffany tells me, no, that's not true. People can get sick from the flu shot, and it has to do with the preservative. And if you're one of those people who have gotten sick when they got a flu shot, then there are flu shots you can get that have no preservative in them. You gotta probably, where would you get those? Explain that to everybody before I say something that's not totally accurate.
So first, it's not the shot that makes you sick. And that's super important for people to just remember. It's not the shot that makes you sick. You can get achy, you can have a low-grade fever for a couple of days, but that's not being sick. That's just your immune system doing what it's supposed to do and making antibodies. That's actually a very good thing. What we were talking about was that there are some people who have reported to me that every time that they get the flu shot, that whole season, they get sick time and time again. And not necessarily with the flu, just their immune system seems a little bit run down. And one of the things that I actually learned from a patient several years back was that LA County Department of Public Health has available a preservative-free flu vaccine. And so for those people, my patients at least, who have said that they get this weird immune weakening kind of feeling, I just recommend that they go to LA County Department of Public Health and ask for the preservative-free vaccine. It seems to help. They seem to do better with that. And so it is an option. And I just think it's important that people know that that's an option, because I didn't even know about it until my patient informed me. So, but it is out there. Yeah.
Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate that. Okay. What else have we got?
Sorry, I just have one more thing real fast. The testing program that we have up has now gone public. So anybody wishing to get a test can go online, register, and pay for a test and get tested for COVID as long as they're asymptomatic at this point in time.
You know, I would like to thank everybody involved, Tiffany, Jason, the city staff, Andrew, is it Nogad? Is that how you pronounce it, Nogad?
Yeah.
They worked really hard at with AV Hospital to get this testing facility so that you can get it on demand. You call, you go on the internet, you drive in, and, for those of you who saw that video we put out on Facebook of me getting it, they stick this thing in your brain, but it doesn't hurt. And actually, they stick something up your nose. It's very fast. It didn't hurt. It was just a little scary. And 24 hours later, I got the results back. So if you think you may have been exposed, and if you think that you need to know so that you're not transmitting it, especially if you are close to somebody who is vulnerable, meaning older, obese, diabetic, any inflammatory condition, take advantage of this. Go get the test. There's no sense in killing somebody somebody you love. I mean, it's kind of obvious, isn't it? All right. Thank you. And again, you guys, thank you. I mean, I'm 68. Let's face it. I'm probably going to be leaving at some point. To have ended life this way, ended my career this way, working with you guys is thank you. What a gift. What a wow. Thank you. Okay. City manager. Any announcements?
Yeah, a couple things to report. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. This past week, we had a great event called Powwow, which I think there's some social media out on it. We got a concluding video. But for those of you who haven't seen Powwow, we've done some amazing murals. The team at MOA is phenomenal, their staff. And, I share your sentiment, Rex, and how amazing it is to work at the city. But the people that are out there working on the weekends, on the day-to-day, making these things happen is pretty cool. So if you look at these videos, it is just phenomenal, the work that they're doing. I'm going to share my screen real quick and see this video of Powwow. Okay, now I can't find my screen. See, I thought I had a plan. I thought I could do it well. Try this. There you go. Let me get it. Let's play. Am I back? Okay, good. So, I mean, just
Those people are raised. That was fabulous.
isn't that phenomenal? I can't pretend to understand them, but when you look at them, they look nice. So, there's probably somebody that can explain what they are, but I just think they look fantastic. So, kudos to Andy and her team over there, just creative. It's, the cultural district of the Boulevard. They're just doing phenomenal things. So big shout out to them, and we appreciate your guys' support on that.
It's Lancaster.
Yeah, it's cool. Tiffany already mentioned too about the testing. So please get tested. I just add to a couple scenarios that you come up with. I have a son in college, and I'd like to assume that he's down there following all the rules of social distancing and things of that nature. And you think of scenarios in which in your personal life in which you could get tested or should get tested. In most of the cases, asymptomatic people can't get tested. This is an opportunity to do that. So as my son plans to come home Christmas break or whenever he's going to come back, I plan to send him to get tested before he walks back in the house. There's scenarios like that are just smart things to do. And, it's a small fee to get it done. And works with the partnership the hospital has created with us. And I'm sure people can think of a number of different scenarios, whether you're going to go visit somebody in the hospital, you're going to get on a plane, or you're coming off a plane, whatever it might be, just to give you that peace of mind that you're safe and you're not bringing anything back to your family. So just a couple ideas, and encouraging people to go out and get tested. Along the flu shot confirmation or conversation, we're going to be sending out a number of social media locations and information as relates to flu testing sites. And there are a number of those available for free, and a number of clinics that are coming up for free, as well as Kaiser's doing a large drive-in at Jethawks, the 26th is going to be doing. So keep an eye out for the city social media, the mayor's email that goes out every couple days to look at those locations, because there is no reason everybody shouldn't get a flu shot, other than medical reasons, as Dr. Stock I'm sure can allude to. But it's not an availability issue. It's not a cost issue. It's a responsibility to do it, and we're going to, as a city, provide as much information to you as possible to help the citizens do that. So that'll be coming out too. Just one note on building and safety, I think is an interesting note. The comparatively where we've been. So building and safety is extremely busy. We're doing more inspections and issuing more permits than ever. More than twice last year, including single family residential permits, an average of 141 per month compared to last at 37 per month. So whatever's going out there in the marketplace is from a COVID perspective, isn't impacting building and safety. So if you look to a bright side in the economy, looks like home building and the needs for housing and some other stuff going forward is good news on the horizon. So at least we're seeing that from our staffing perspective. The number of calls we're getting at all of our locations is up from a building perspective. So that is very good news. And that's all I have. Oh, shout out to just talk about the fires real quick. And again, with Andrew Nogan, our emergency operations team, they're working closely with the AV Fair as well as the emergency operations team to look at the evacuation locations in partnership with the fair. So it's not the fires aren't necessarily affecting us specifically, but it's obviously affecting our neighbors and friends. And we're there to help where necessary. So we're working in that venue as well, and just obviously send out our prayers to those firefighters that are up there trying to save our lives. So that's it.
Thank you. Yeah, one of the things I want to bring up is I've been getting calls about people who own property, the vacant property, that candidates are putting their signs without permission up on them. And I'm wondering if perhaps we should just have a call-in number and go ahead and let the city just take them down.
Well, we do that, and I'll refer to Allison a little bit. She'll know the law a little more specifically than me, but I'll turn it over to Allison. She got her mute off because I think she's ready for this one probably.
Yeah, I will double check what scope of authority we have to go ahead and take those down. As long as the property owners allow us onto their property, that's we should be in good stead to do that, but I wouldn't want us trespassing on anyone's private property.
Well, I'm thinking that we would only get involved if a property owner called and complained and asked for help.
Right.
What I want to avoid is a situation where a property owner is tearing down the sign, and then that leads to some violent confrontation. Whereas the city will have somebody in a city uniform taking it down, and that won't occur. Well, it better not occur.
That should be fine, but I'll work with Jason on making sure we have the proper protocols in place.
Okay, terrific. Okay. City Clerk.
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on non-agendized items, please press *9. I will announce the last four of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. State law prohibits council from taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Please press *9 at this time if you would like to comment on non-agendized items. Callers with the last four, 9883, please state your name.
Hello, this is Amberly Stegner, and I was wanting to comment on what Mayor Paris had talked about earlier from the previous City Council meeting. And my comments are I'm going to try to just keep it short, but my concern was primarily that there would be a mandate to vaccines for the residents of Lancaster. And in the manner that it was spoken, it seemed very punitive, which just undermines the intrinsic spirit of our city and of residents like me and many others I know who care tremendously about our city. It took a lot of action and took seriously this crisis of COVID. And then to see that when the impact was not as great, the emergency effect has not been lifted. And instead, new ideas are being implemented, like a vaccine for flu, or even potentially eradicating a flu season. And just a lot of the comments that were brought in were just very concerning because it removes our ability to choose as individuals, which is a very big deal. And I think it also removes the ability to empower people with knowledge, with health knowledge, with opportunity. But the minute you make something a mandate, you have killed a spirit that is very important. And I'm just concerned over the unprecedented approach to COVID, which is now seeming to heighten and giving fire to more ideas of balancing mortality and taking control like that as a city and as a government. And unfortunately, I think the way that California is handling this, it's seeping into Lancaster as well. And so my concern is just the leadership mentality potentially on the city council is concerning. And I just want to ask you guys to reconsider your approach, make people certainly give opportunity and education, but that needs to stay in the hands of the people. And in fact, that's what I thought you guys were representing. But when I see the punitive attitude toward closing schools and private businesses, if they don't comply, it reveals a mentality that is very hurtful. And ultimately, long term, I believe will be destructive to our city and its people. Thank you.
At this time, anyone else wishing to comment on non-agendized items, please press *9. Caller with the last four, 9439, please state your name.
Hello, my name is Scott Walker. I'm a longtime Lancaster resident and the general manager of Cinemark 22 here in Lancaster. 2 weeks ago, I went and opened to help do the reopening at the Huntington Beach location, 20-screen theater. And the new industry protocols for COVID safety were very impressive. I wanted to see ask if council would consider possibly supporting a fast-track path for us to reopen. If you have any questions or anything, I can answer them. But I think that the protocols in place were definitely effective and the way you think of movie theater going in the past is no longer a thing. Spacing and the crowd control was just night and day from what it used to be. And I was hoping to see if we can start moving forward.
Scott, can you leave your contact information with the city clerk and tomorrow, and some of us will call you?
Sounds good. Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no other public speakers that want to comment at this time.
Thank you, Andrea. As to the first caller, I obviously was misunderstood. And I guess it's not unusual. Not the first time I've been misunderstood. What I intended to convey was I wanted help in making flu shots available. I thought churches were a perfect place to have them available because you have not predominantly, but a skewed population that there's a lot of vulnerable people that we could get all at one time and have the shots available. The mandatory part I was talking about, which I agree I shouldn't have said and I shouldn't have gone in that direction, was that program be made available, not that anybody had to take the shot. I recognize that we're not at a position or a place where forced vaccinations would be appropriate. I don't think it is appropriate. But to in any way minimize this is just not realistic. I mean, 50 people died in this city that didn't need to die. 200,000 people have died in this country that did not need to die. If the trend continues in this country, both my dog was choking, and 400,000 people will die by year's end. I mean, there's nothing overstated by this. The fact that we haven't had massive deaths is because of these mandatory rules that the state, county, and city have enforced. The reason our death toll is so comparatively low compared to other cities is Dr. Stocks and Tiffany and Dr. Trong, we got on it really early. And, and we were requiring masks before any other city. And, everybody wanted to lynch me then. That, how dare we do something like this? How dare we take away people's choices? Well, come on, let's be realistic here. If we can save people's lives by wearing a simple mask, wear the mask, Now, all right, you don't want to get a flu shot, don't get a flu shot. I mean, my wife said, why do you get involved? She's yelling at me, not yelling, but she's saying, why are you getting involved in that? They want to die, let them die. Well, that's not how I view it. If I can figure out a way to keep people alive who otherwise wouldn't be, I'm gonna get as aggressive as I can. No, I cannot enforce people getting flu shots. And no, I never thought that I could do that. Do I think that it's insanity not to get one? I really do. I really do. If you have the flu and then get COVID, you have no chance to survive. None. Zero. You will die. Is that a fair statement, Larry?
It's well said, Rex.
Yeah, I think it increases your risk tremendously if you have both flu and COVID at the same time. I don't know that even we have much experience with that yet, but either one of them could lead to death, and having both of them would be very bad.
Thank you. The philosophy of this city council and this city is we will do whatever we need to do and no more. And no more. I mean, that's why we had the 4th of July. It was stupid not to have 4th of July. And as the statistics bore out, not any surge at all occurred because of 4th of July. I think we should be able to open the movie theaters with the proper safeguards in play. And, you know, if I had the power to tell the movie theater to open, what I would do is I'd ask Tiffany to go over, make certain that their protocols are in place and that they're doing it safely. And if the answer is yes, I think we should open. I thought we should have opened the what's the proper word for a beauty shop now? Anybody know? Arbor.
Salon.
A salon, right?
Salon.
Okay. I thought we should have opened the salons. Because the doctors here, both of these doctors told me they wear a mask and wear their gloves, take a temperature when people come in. It's perfectly safe to do that. As Dr. Stocker told me. I mean, you know, I kind of thought he looked better with the longer hair.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I do think that the county is being, you know, I thought it was a competence issue, and now I recognize that, you know, I was probably a little too harsh with that also. They're attempting to take care of a problem of 10 million people, and they're wanting to do rules to take care of the whole 10 million at one time. I don't think that's the appropriate way. I think the appropriate way is to let the cities decide with guidelines, you know, because what they have to do in Los Angeles is not what we have to do. I mean, we have a lower infection rate. We have wider spaces. You know, I mean, my law firm is just filed a case against the county because one of the breweries, they won't let them have people outside with food trucks. I don't see a difference between whether there's a kitchen on site and a food truck. I just don't. I mean, so we took that case. I think we should do everything we can to keep people in business and get businesses back up, as long as it doesn't kill anybody. I mean, we don't have to be radical in it. And as long as you're taking temperatures, keeping the appropriate distance, making certain that every single person without exception is wearing a mask, we'll do whatever we can to help you get open. In regards to the churches, what I've said is people who Tiffany says are following the protocols, if the county gives you a fine, I'll pay it. I mean, my wife and I will personally pay it. I think that churches are an essential service. And I think people who regularly attend church suffer when they don't. And that's a suffering that they do not have to endure. So I hope that answers your questions. I guess to summarize, if you're doing something that the doctors tell me will kill somebody, we will stop you. But barring that, we think you should be free and open to do business. That's the philosophy of the city. The governor disagrees with me, and the Board of Supervisors disagree with me. Fortunately, Catherine Barger does agree with me, so we have some leverage down there. But that's the status of it. Have I said it, Marvin, Raj, Ken? Have I said it?
No, I think it's well said. I think that we're getting information, and I don't think people see the side of you that we do all the time, that you truly do care about people. And it's important to know, you know, from my perspective, that the mayor is trying to save lives. He's not trying to intrude into anyone's lives. So that it was with that spirit that he said, I really appreciate you retracting it and apologizing. And I think we need to drop it from now on and move on. We have a great city. Let's build on it.
Yep. Education is key too.
I don't think I apologized. The reason why I've learned never to apologize is because for the next 10 years, whenever somebody wants to mess with me, it'll end up in the paper, but he apologized. No, I explained what I meant, and I told you that I was too harsh, and I recognize that, and I'm simply asking for some grace in regards to that.
Mayor Paris, what I like to say is that you're doing a true Mayor Paris, you're true as a mayor job. So I think you're doing you think out of the box, you always step ahead. So that's what sometimes, but I think you're doing a really good job. So we're all with you on that.
I don't really think I am doing a good job. I'm thinking I'm getting people out of the way so that Dr. Stocks, Tiffany Tanner, and Dr. Trong, and the city emergency response people can do a magnificent job. I mean, my job is just...
Who put this team together?
What?
Who put this team together? You did it.
Well, yeah, I guess I did. Thanks. Okay. Dr. Trong, I'm glad to see you here. Do you have something you wanted to add? No, you got to unmute and you got to pull the car over.
I'm parked. Don't worry. I had late clinic and I couldn't get out on time. But so far, the COVID infection rates are dropping. We're doing very well in Antelope Valley. Our rates are half of a death per 100,000 as the rest of LA County. Things are rolling along. The vaccine should be coming in, hopefully end of November, early December. The numbers look pretty decent. I think if we keep doing what you're saying, meaning, 6 feet distance, wear a mask, be smart about it, don't touch your face, wash your hands, be protective of each other. I think that's we'll do very well. So yes, keep it going.
Thank you. Jason, is there some way we can push this issue a little harder with the county? I mean, if we know how to open the movie theater and keep people distanced and safe, why can't we do it?
No, absolutely. I think that's exactly what we're doing. Once we talk to figure out what he's trying to accomplish, then we can start running it up the flagpole and barking up the right trees and see what happens.
Good. Thank you. Okay. Anybody got anything else? Is there anything I can do to help anybody? Any questions you have, even members of the public? Now's the time to ring in quickly because I'm going to end this meeting otherwise. Good. Okay. I love everybody. See you later. Meeting is adjourned until October 13th, 2020 p.m. And I'm talking to the chairman of the Planning Commission, Jim Ross, about he wants to start the Planning Commission meetings in public. I don't know, maybe it's time, maybe, I'm not sure. But by next meeting, we should have a schedule in place as to when we will come back to live meetings. Okay. And Kitty and Cassandra, as always, it was a pleasure having you here. Thank you. And we're adjourned.